Hiring people is always one of the biggest challenges of running a business. You got personalities involved, and you got ego involved, and you've got confidence involved. There's a lot of factors that are involved in whether an individual is going to make a good hire or not. And one of the key things I learned from my father was his philosophy of, I hire people to do what I want them to do legally. So he doesn't hire an accountant or an attorney to tell him what they can and cannot do. He hires an accountant and an attorney to tell him how to do what he wants them to do legally. And interestingly enough, in accounting and legal aspects, there's always ways to make things work. Sometimes you have to step outside the box and look at things and really understand how these pieces fall into place. You don't want to do anything illegal. You want to do things that are GAAP, which is global agricultural policy, but also generally accepted principles or generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP. And so you want to do things within GAAP and you want to make sure they're legal, but you need to look at it and say, okay, what do I want to accomplish and how do I want to accomplish it? So when you're getting ready to hire somebody, you want to hire people that know more about their job than you do. You don't want to hire somebody that knows less about their job. You want somebody that knows more about their job. You're hiring them for their expertise. And one of the problems that people run into a lot of times is as the CEO or the founder or the entrepreneur, you don't want to hire good people because you're afraid they're going to challenge you. They're going to push you, or you'll hire them and they're going to leave short time and start their own business and compete with you. So you do need to be careful of that. You need to structure your agreements with them so that you understand. But most importantly, you need to keep them happy. And to keep them happy by continually providing them with opportunity and compensating them based on their skill level and based on their quality and based on their market value. You need to look at it from a financial standpoint, from a market value, in can they make someplace else, and how do I compete with that? But also, what other benefits are there? Is it a situation where they can work from home, or they have less travel, or it's closer to their home? There's a lot of factors you need to take into consideration when you hire people. When I hired people, one of the things I did is I brought them into my office after a few months and said, okay, what are your personal goals? Where do you want to be 3, 6 months from now and 3 and 5 years from now? And a lot of times I'd have people that were very successful in getting their academics and their education and to get to the point that they were at. A lot of them went to schools like Thunderbird or Harvard or Stanford or USC or wherever. They went to a number of different highly academically acclaimed schools. But when you ask them, what do you want to accomplish? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? And they scratch their head and say, oh, I want to do better. I want to have more responsibility. They weren't specific. They weren't able to sit there and say, here's exactly where I want to be. Now, in my younger days, if you asked me, where do I want to be 5 years from now? Again, I would have a plan. I'd say, I want to be at this level. I want to be here. I had people that worked for me, one that was fluent in Chinese, another was fluent in Japanese. And I brought them into the office and said, where do you want to be 5 years from now? And again, they didn't have an answer. I said, well, do you want, you speak Chinese. Do you want to live in China? Do you want to work with the Chinese? Do you want to move on from China? What do you want to do there? And they scratched their head and I said, come back in a few days after you think about it. This is something you should have planned. You should know where you want to be.